Hey guys, it's Crystal. So here is my review for the Lorac Pro Palette. I am so behind on this, I actually am having to refilm it because I accidentally deleted my first one. I've had the Pro Palette now for about 2 months and I am in love with it. For those of you who do not know, this is what it looks like. I will go grab the box to show you that as well. Here is the Lorac Pro Palette box, all of the information on the back. And it also comes with a small size of the Lorac eyeshadow primer called Behind the Scenes. I have the large size and I am in love with this. It is like just as good to me as the Urban Decay Primer Potion. As always, I'm going to read from the website what they have to say about the amazing Lorac Pro Palette, and then I am going to give my actual review. All of this information can be found at www.loraccosmetics.com. So this palette runs for $42, which is actually an amazing price considering all that you get. And they say, go pro with the Lorac Pro Palette. Created by celebrity makeup artist Carol Show, this pro artistry palette is packed with 8 shimmer and 8 matte eyeshadows in all the shades you need to create the hottest look straight from the red carpet. Lorac's velvety smooth shadows are infused with soothing botanicals and are ultra pigmented to perform wet or dry so you can shade, shadow, line, and define your eyes just like a pro. Pro Palette contains 16 eyeshadows and a mini behind the scenes pro eye primer for stay true color that lasts. A pro must have. Okay, so I have to say that this is one of the best palettes for beginners in makeup. And I know that it's, geared towards be like a pro with the Pro Palette. It's good if you're a professional as well. I'm sure many professionals out there love this palette. I actually know of several that are obsessed with this palette. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like. You get a mirror, and then you get all of these amazing shadows. The top are all matte, and the bottom are all shimmer. Okay, first thing I love about this palette. There's no cutesy names like Creep or, Knight in Shining Armor. It's actually the names of the colors. So it's really helpful for people who are just starting off in makeup so that they can actually learn what these colors are. Because calling a color Creep or Sin doesn't really tell you what the color is, even if it's obvious what the color is. Sometimes it's nice just to know, oh, okay, I'm putting a taupe on. What's a taupe color really look like? Well, there's a taupe right there. What's a mauve really look like? Well, there's a mauve right there. Even though the cute names are really fun, and I happen to love them, I love all of those fun names like Sin and Virgin, it's just nice to have the actual names. Another great thing, half matte, half shimmer. There's not a palette out there yet, or a palette that's been this popular that has been daring enough to do half matte and half shimmer. It's usually all shimmer and like 2 mattes or 3 mattes or 4 mattes. Matte colors are really important, and I think people are a little bit nervous to use matte colors because they're not sure how to incorporate them properly, or they think that they're kind of boring. There's a lot of reasons that I always hear for matte colors not being used enough. Well, the problem with that is all shimmer all the time is not always flattering. People with hooded eyelids shouldn't really go all shimmer. People who have crow's feet or some wrinkles should not go all shimmer. Not everybody knows that, but we all are kind of geared to think that shimmers are the way to go. Well, you can do fabulous, phenomenal looks mixing both or even using all matte. Sometimes that's the appropriate way to go for a job interview, for work, depending on what you're doing. Be bold, use the mattes. And I know that kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but really, it's not. Once you start using them, you'll love it. Another thing I love about Lorac, first of all, I have been a Lorac fan for years, about 10 years now. I've been using Lorac products. I started by getting my first blush from them, which was called Crimson, and I've been buying it ever since, actually. I fell in love. I thought this was just a beautiful, beautiful color. So I started purchasing more Lorac products and slowly but surely fell in love with the entire line. Now that they're having a pro line out there, I think it's really great. I do feel that the quality in general has improved. I never really was a fan of their shadows. It's not because they weren't good or they weren't beautiful. I just felt that they weren't pigmented enough and they were a little bit difficult to blend. This palette, however, it's like a whole new formula, and I think that that's really wonderful. These shadows are incredible to blend, incredible to blend. Now here's a close-up of the shadows. And I will do swatches for those of you who would like. I'll probably put pictures in. But I'll do a quick little swatch on a couple of them for you. Here's the slate color, that beautiful shimmer slate. This is one of my favorites, pewter. Here's matte mauve. Here's matte taupe. Here's the matte cream. Here's the deep purple, light pink, light bronze, champagne, and this amazing black. So some of the best parts of this palette, or aspects, would be that it's so easy to blend. In my opinion, this palette was made for everybody and anybody. If you're just beginning in makeup, if you are super pro in makeup, it doesn't matter. Everybody can use this and enjoy it, and everybody's gonna get a great eyeshadow look. When you set people up for success with palettes, you're really going to get returning customers. I think Urban Decay did that with their Naked palettes. I love my Naked 1 and 2s. Naked 2 is my favorite, but really, I think that they set people up for success. People loved Naked 1, and that's why they came out with a Naked 2. I'm hoping that they come out with a Pro Palette 2 because this needs a sister palette. I think it's just amazing. The colors are buttery soft. They blend beautifully, and you can do so many different combos with this that it just blows you away. You can easily go from day to night with these colors, which is great. You've got an all-in-one inclusive palette. These colors also do not crease, and I mean that. I have extremely oily eyelids. I tried this palette first and foremost with no primer at all. It stayed on all day. I'm not even kidding you. The shimmers, the mattes stayed on all day. Another thing that I love about this palette is that it comes with a little primer. Even if they're just trying to kind of plug their primer to you, it's still nice that it comes with a primer because you don't want to just give someone a palette and then not let them know it's important to prime. The primer only helps enhance these shadows. Now the primer is flesh tone, which is great, and it then blends clear. So it's got a really easy applicator tip. That's what it looks like. Blends clear. I also think that it's really, really genius how they decided to mix in warm and cool colors. It's not a predominantly warm palette, but it's not a predominantly cool palette, whereas the Naked palettes were like, one was really a warm palette, one was really a cool tone palette. This did a great job mixing. So even if people are like, oh, well, I'm more of like a warm tone person, or I'm more of a cool tone person, you can still use this brilliantly and look amazing. Wet or dry, just like they mentioned, I used both ways. These do a great job. I could create all different liner colors. They only get more intense as you wet them. They're great for foiling. These are amazing for foiling. I was foiling all day long with the pewter and the, the light bronze down here. And foiling is just a technique. It's a great way to make those shadows really get your eyelids glistening. And when they're wet, they still blend just as nicely. It's not any more difficult. It's not any less difficult, but it's not any more difficult. They're really great to blend either way. So a couple of cons about this palette. Some of the colors have major fallout, such as deep purple, big time fallout, light bronze, and nude, big time fallout. Sable and espresso, big time fallout. So just be careful. Sometimes, and that doesn't really say anything like, oh, it's really low quality because of the fallout. These shadows are so soft that sometimes when you get a really good shadow and it's really soft, easy to blend, you're gonna have some fallout. What I did notice and what I can say is that even though there was some fallout with these shadows, it didn't lessen the color, if that makes any sense. So where I placed my brush, I still got a nice, intense, deep color, even though there was fallout. Another con that I'm gonna point out is this color right here, white. It's very white. However, it's in the row of the matte colors. It's not a true matte. It has a little bit of a satin sheen to it. Now, for some of you, you might be like, yeah, I love it. It's great. For me, I really was going for that matte white, and I was really hoping for that matte white. Okay, so another con. I know that some people out there are really like, oh, there's too many matte colors. Again, I don't see that as a con. I see that as a plus. I think it's great that they did half and half. I think it was a really bold move on Lorac's part. Amazing. Great job, stroke of genius. But for those of you out there who really are looking for shimmer, really don't like mattes or are not comfortable with mattes, this is not going to be something you enjoy. You are going to feel like you probably wasted $42 and you're probably going to only use half of the palette. I already know 2 people who had that incident happen. They got the palette, they liked it, and then they were like, you know what, there's just way too many mattes. I'm only using the bottom row. So I know of at least one person that actually exchanged this palette for a different palette and is actually happier with the new palette. So just bear in mind that this is a half and half. Half mattes, half shimmer. 8 and 8. So don't go and buy this if you don't like matte colors. But on the flip side of that, they're not all super, super true mattes. The white is probably the most satin of the mattes. The cream, the taupe, and the black and sable are true mattes. The light pink, oh, the mauve's a true matte as well. The light pink and the black and the espresso have a tiny, tiny bit of satin sheen to them. You probably can't pick it up from this camera, or you can see it on the black. See that? And the light pink is like getting washed out. But anyways, those have a little bit of a satin sheen, so you can make it work. You can make that work. They're not totally flat colors. We'll put it that way. Another thing I love about this palette, it is great for contour work. So for those of you who are just learning to contour your lids or just discovering what kind of lids you have and you want to start trying to shape them better or to better accentuate your features, this is a great palette for that. It's great for creating gradients as well. Most of these colors are like that. They blend right up into each other beautifully, so you can get that flawless, amazing, flush look to your eyes. And that's the coolest part about this palette. I know that myself, sometimes I look at these makeup artists and I'm like, my God, I wish that my eyes could look like that when I do a look. When you get this palette, no doubt, give it a couple days, work with this palette, make it work for you, and you're gonna get those same results on your eyes because A, it's also easy to blend. These colors, buttery soft, blend like a dream. B, they're really soft shades, so nothing is too harsh. You have a couple mid-tones, a couple deep shades in here, but for the most part, they are soft enough that they're going to do a good gradient. C, they're great color combos. You can't go wrong. For example, these 4 right here, light pink, mauve, pewter, and light browns. You could do a color combo with that. You could do a beautiful smoky eye with these 4. You could do, let's see, a nice neutral look using these. I mean, however you choose to do a look, it's going to work perfect. Also, when you use them wet, some shadows that I've used wet, they get a little wet spot in them and they're really hard to use dry again. These are not. The wet does not even affect the shadows. They're just as easy to use. As soon as you're done using them wet, you can use them dry. So I really like how quickly they can change back, how durable and malleable these shadows are. These are just wonderful, wonderful shadows. I'm going to definitely be posting looks on this palette as well. I deleted like 2 looks on accident. One I still have, so I'll be editing that and put it up. So let me know if this review was helpful to you, and let me know if you already have this palette. What do you think of it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Did you return it? Why did you return it? And what are some of your favorite looks to do? Feel free to leave it as a comment below or a video response of a look that you did using this palette, and I will be back doing looks with this as well. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and even better Black Friday, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!